your lead, isn't it?
Yeah, this is mine. This is Studs to Sit. Look, last week we were 3-1, so we did actually a really great job picking out our Studs to Sit, and that puts us at 60% for the whole year. We're 23, 14, and 7. So who are we sitting this week, Greg? Who is your player that you're sitting?
Well, yeah, I want to say something about this before I get into my player. A lot of people will tell you that you should always start your studs. I disagree. We're 60% of top 12 players at their position and telling you don't do it. Just don't do it. Well, for me, this week, tight end number 5 is Cade Otton. Otton's been heavily targeted since week 3. He has 8 or more targets in 6 games, including the past 4 in a row. So why the shade? Mike Evans has missed all or most of the past 4 games, and he's back at practice and expected to play this week. That means Mike's going to get some balls. This week's opponent will likely have a run-heavy game script due to a change at the quarterback position. Okay, I like this new kid, don't get me wrong, but I do think he's going to throw less than they were throwing. This should shorten the game in terms of total plays. Also, the Giants are the best team in the league against tight ends. They're showing just 3 for 33 yards to tight ends per game and have allowed only 1 tight end touchdown all year. All this at the same time, they're giving up over 115 rushing yards per game. This feels like a Bucky Irvin type game to me. How about you, Tipp?
Yeah, for me, it's Kyron Williams. And look, Philadelphia has been a really tough defense here late. They've been stopping the run. They specifically been giving opponents, keeping them under 100 yards at 83 yards per game the last 3 weeks. So that, for me, tells me that, look, they're stopping the run. They're focusing on stopping the run with that big defensive line that they have. And there's going to be a focal point of the Rams because they want to get Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp going as fast as possible. But they have to get it. They have to also factor in the run as well. So they're going to stop the run this week against Kyron Williams. They have been giving up the touchdown, but this week, I think they're going to stop him even in the end zone. Kyron Williams has not had a touchdown in the last 3 games. This is the same guy who was a touchdown machine. That's what he did. He scored touchdowns for you. He may not get you the yardage, or he would get you the yardage and still get you that touchdown. But these last 3 games, he has not gotten a touchdown. He's not gotten in the end zone. I think they make it a focal point to keep it another game to make it 4 games in a row for Kyron Williams. So I'm out on him this week. Jagger, who are you out on? Who is a stud that you're going to sit?
It's Jaden Reed, and I understand the Boone potential, but the 49ers, granted, they haven't been their best, but especially after last season where you saw them give up a lot through the air and then nothing on the ground, they've kind of reversed that, and their priority has been stopping the pass. So and moreover, I think that Nick Bosa is really going to affect Jordan Love. If you've watched Jordan Love's game, he's almost like how Jared Goff was earlier in his career. As soon as you get pressure on him, he doesn't really care for that. So if Nick Bosa can stay active and if the 49ers can continue to control the air, I could see those limited opportunities that Jaden Reed already has turn in a bust game because he's been relying on efficiency so much so far this season.
Yeah, I had Jaden Reed picked as a bust last week. A lot of for those reasons, but also the team that they were playing too. So yeah, it'll be great to see if he could do it 2 weeks in a row for us on the Studs to Sit.
Hey,
Greg,
Jaden, let me ask you, how big are you?
Me?
Height, weight, yeah.
Like 5'10", 215. So
let me ask you something. You got Nick Bosa coming down on you. Are you going to be looking downhill?
I mean, I don't get paid to do that. I don't like. And my point is that Jordan Love does that with defensive ends that aren't Nick Bosa. So, yeah. Like the fact that it is Nick Bosa, I'm doubly worried. Moreover, so
yeah, there are certain players you just want to be very nice to.
Yeah.
All right, like Joe.
Back in the day with J.J. Watt, they would train with having tennis rackets in the air to simulate going against J.J. Watt.
It's crazy, man. All right, Joe. That actually reminds me of back in high school when we were playing, and the coach, there was a kid that would, we were playing against, and they would be really tall. I'm 5'10" as well, and we would get the broomsticks out, and they would get the brooms and try to block us. from shooting so we can get those shots over him. But all right, Joe, talk to us. Who's a stud to sit for you?
For me, I got Tucker Kraft. San Fran is, they give up the third fewest fantasy points to tight ends. Nick Bosa is a menace. Jordan Love, his pass attempts could be low based on San Fran control and possession of the game. A lot of the same points Jagger made. Green Bay's been running the ball. I think San Fran's going to put pressure on Jordan Love. Christian Watson has also been heating up. I feel like he might have a decent game here. Last week, Tucker Kraft played 91% of the snaps last week, and he only had one target. So that's very alarming to me. I feel like this ain't getting any better at going against San Fran defense.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm actually happy that you and Jagger picked the Green Bay Packers players, because we have a person who listens in the audience. Her name is Sniper Mel, and she booed the Lions in the last show that we had, Greg, and you missed it. And so that's for you, Sniper Mel. We got 2 Green Bay Packers that we're sitting this week. Now we love you, Sniper Mel.
It's the Terminators across from there. Like I tell everyone on the Football Guys Start Sit show that whatever tight end is going against Fred Warner, I'm sitting them. I don't care. Fred Warner will shut down the middle. Like, it's almost tight end, and unless you are a stud running back, I'm probably sitting you too against Fred Warner. So,
well, let me ask you then, because I happen to think that the best tight end. I've been watching the NFL for a very long time. I've seen some great tight ends. Ditka. Okay, Charlie Sanders for Detroit was a great tight end, great receiving tight end. Let me ask you this. Would you sit Travis Kelce just because he was going against them?
Probably, yeah. Like this year's Travis Kelce? Yes. Like if you would ask me that 2 years ago, no. But I think Travis Kelce is a good tight end, but he's no longer the best. I think George Kittle, Trey McBride, those guys are the top tier as far as in skill set. But that's just the Fred Warner is the Terminator, man. He's like, I call him that for a reason. He is inevitable. He is coming, and you can't throw across the middle of the field, and you can't run across from him because he just finds the ball. So to answer your question, this year's Travis Kelce, I would sit.
I don't sit this year's Travis Kelce. I don't. Travis Kelce is still top 5 tight end this year in fantasy.
Well, that's a low bar this year, but I get yeah.
Well, but it's still, if you're going to sit him, he's got to be a lot lower than top 5. I would think. I mean, if you're look, I got Fred Warner in an IDP league. All right, so I like the guy, but he's had games where he's disappeared as well.
I mean, has he disappeared on the box score, or has he disappeared on the defensive present? I mean, that's 2 different things, because depending on if you count, pass defense or whatever, that doesn't always translate. Because that's where I wish IDP would get to, is showing a lot of the stats that don't get put in the box score with defensive players. Because that's like being a cornerback. If nothing happens to you, you did your job as a cornerback, and that's hard to put in. It's hard to fill up a box score like that. So that's my question, because there's a reason why that the 49ers have the third least points to tight ends, and it's Fred Warner. It's they have 2 good safeties too. Like, I do the linebacker and safety rule. If they have that middle of the field taken away, it just eliminates the tight end, unless they are 2022 Travis Kelce. So
that's interesting. That's interesting you say, Jagger, especially about the IDP as far as changing up the style a little bit. Like, for instance, if you have a cornerback who doesn't get 5 passes thrown to him in a single game, well, I think, again, you've done your job. First of all, you put that dude on the island. You should maybe get some points rewarded for doing that.
Yeah. Wow. That's like, I don't know yet, but that's like scouting. Cornerback is like one of the most boring positions because if they're a good quarterback, you're watching nothing all game. Right. You're watching nothing happen. So that's
certainly true with Dion.
Yeah,
when Dion was playing, people just didn't throw at him.
Why would you?
Yeah. Dion was so dangerous on all fronts. It was crazy. But yeah,
Ed Reed was my guy because I remember watching Bill Belichick. He's like, what do you do with Ed Reed? He's just like, just don't throw to him. That's the only thing you can do.
Ed Reed was a safety, right?
Yeah, that's it. You couldn't throw to his area of the field.
That guy blew running backs up.
Yeah,
he blew them up. He was one of the strongest hitting backs that I've ever seen. I mean, I loved watching Ed Reed. So, as you can tell, we're stretching it a little bit because we got 4 minutes to our break. But I got to ask you guys, is there a single player that is considered a stud that has surprised you this year? And I know Jagger's going to say Jonathan Taylor, that has surprised you with how poorly or how little they've played this year. For me, it's Christian McCaffrey. He's come back 2 games and he still hasn't been great. I'm waiting for the first touchdown. But is there a player that's played and surprised you at how bad they've been? We'll start with you, Jagger.
Well, not to give Jonathan Taylor, because I think we just all know why Jonathan Taylor's been bad. When you have a bad quarterback, you don't have high leverage touches as a running back. So to give you someone else, I'll say the obvious answer is Aaron Rodgers. I didn't expect to have 2016 or MVP Aaron Rodgers, but I didn't expect to get, well, what's the difference between you and Zach Wilson? So
2012 Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, exactly. It's been ugly. I mean, you've got Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson. Tyler Conklin doesn't suck. Like he's at least somebody. Breece Hall, and then you can't get anything going on offense. It's pretty alarming. Imagine Matt Stafford on that team.
How about you, Joe?
I'm gonna go with Dalton Kincaid. This is a guy that should have stepped up, been the number 1 target. They shouldn't have had a trade for Amari Cooper, even though they did. We were expecting his second-year breakout, possibly 100 targets, and we've seen nothing but meh.
Exactly.
Yeah, but is it because of Kincaid, or is it because he doesn't really have the receiver help on the outside to take to open the middle of the field for him?
That's part of the problem. So when Amari Cooper was on the field, his results are a little bit better there. It's somewhat encouraging. I fully expect. I would think that his touchdowns increase once the offense is 100% healthy and clicking. I don't necessarily see his volume increasing all that much, but I think he could find the end zone a lot easier with a fully equipped, healthy Buffalo Bills offense.
You're killing me. He's my starting tight end in one of my leagues.
Yeah,
How about you? How about you there, Tipp?
Yeah, it's an easy one for me. Tyreek Hill. I'm waving the white flag on this one, man. He's had 2 opportunities since Tua's been back, since they got back from the bye, to go against some really good defenses that were favorable on his side, and he hasn't done it. He hasn't eclipsed 20 points. 20 points. Tyreek Hill was a guy that would get you 20 points a week. Like that was like his floor was 20 points, and he's only gotten 20 points once this year. So I'm done with him. I've traded him in a dynasty league. I told you about it this morning or this afternoon, Greg. I traded him for a 1st-round pick because I don't think I'm ever going to get the Tyreek Hill that I've seen ever again. It's possible he's still young. You're right. You said that, Greg. He's only 30, but I just don't think we're ever going to see the same Tyreek Hill.